After 4 wet and overcast port days in Norway, it was nice to see some blue sky again. And as this was a sea day, it was a great opportunity to have room service. This only costs £2.50 and is a great way to start your day. Just fill out the menu card with exactly what you want and leave it out before 10 PM the previous evening. And the chilled out start to the day was going to continue as I headed to Vistas for a coffee. I'm a huge fan of sea days. It's just an opportunity to explore the ship, chill out and just relax. But how do you find them? Do you think they're a bit boring and would you prefer another day in port, or do you agree with me? Please let me know in the comments below. Due to the busy schedule and not particularly great weather, I hadn't really spent a lot of time outdoors on the ship. So I took this opportunity to have a bit of an explore. But I didn't get in the pool, unlike these hardy souls. Lunchtime for me on sea day is pretty much always going to be in the main dining room. And while it's always an express lunch, I'm going to be having the full works as I've got nowhere else to be. Eating really is the number one thing to do on sea day. Why not? You're on holiday, you'll be back to work soon. So for my starter I went with a deep fried Ariane sealy balls. And for my main course I went for the fisherman's pie, followed by ice cream for dessert. After lunch I went to the Crow's Nest, which is a very popular bar and observation point at the very front of the ship. And the plan for the rest of the day was to see how much entertainment I could cram in. And then I went and checked out the Sky Dome, which is being transformed for tonight's show. I think that this is a good venue. It can hold a lot of people and have a wide range of shows. I just wish they could sort out the audio issues. And over in the clubhouse, magician Ava Bow was putting on a fantastic show.
How are you doing this evening? Amazing. Thank you so much for coming. My name is Ava Bow. I am indeed a magician. We have heard. You see, if you try to erase a memory from your mind, take it out to leave a nice, perfectly neat, joined up past, an object will always trigger that memory, sending you right back to where you started. Thank you. Thank you.
And tonight's dinner was going to be at the specialty restaurant, the Beach House. The Beach House is actually situated within the Horizon Buffet. And there's a cover charge of £9.50 per person to eat here. And there are some menu items that do have an additional surcharge, so just be aware of that. But as always on a cruise, it's an opportunity to try something different. And of course, if you don't like what you had, the buffet's next door. For my starter I went for the halibut and salmon ceviche, which costed a whopping £1.50. And I had it just for the halibut. If you know where that joke's from, please let me know in the comments below. Which was crab cakes, spiced prawns, mahi-mahi goujons, fish fritter and Cajun fries. And others went for the beer can chicken sharer, which was an additional £4. And the fillet steak with king prawns, which was an additional £7. And for my dessert I had the 1970s classic, the banana split. Overall this was another great meal, I just wish I'd chosen a different main course. And I'm not saying that it was bad, it just wasn't up to the standard that I'd set this restaurant at. Iona's big night out was going to be the grand finale of the cruise in the Sky Dome, which was going to consist of an aero balance show, some laser and lighting effects and some banging tunes. The signature performance in the Sky Dome for this cruise was going to be a show called Spark. However, this acrobatic show had been cancelled on the first night of our cruise due to high winds. And we were told before this performance that due to injury, Spark wouldn't be able to take place tonight, which is why we had this other show. And while I appreciate the skill of the artistry from the performers, I felt that this show was pretty flat. This just didn't have any wow factor at all for me. Brody's is a great place for game shows and quizzes. So that was the next location I headed to.
You touch in the morning. Now I'd like to know, what is the last thing you touch in the evening before you go to bed? Take some paper. There we go. Time starts now. What's the last thing you touch in the evening before bed? Is what we'd like to know. 23 seconds left on the clock. You'd like more paper? Of course you can have more paper. There we go. Oh, guys.
But if you want to have somewhere to sit, you're going to have to get here really early. So this really is one of the most popular venues on the ship. And then it was time to go and see Josh Adams in the Headliners Theatre. And out of all of the guest performers on the cruise, he was my favourite.
But it's much too strong to let it go now. We meet every day at the same cafe, 6:30, and no one knows she's there. Holding hands, making all kinds of plans. While the jukebox, it plays our favorite song. Mrs. My last, my everything. The answer to all of my dreams. You're my sun, my moon. You're my guiding star. You're my kind of wonderful. That's what you are.
And then it was back down to Brody's to see busker Matthew Wright. And I really appreciate the fact he did a good mix of both old and new songs. In this banger from Luke Combs.
Just a t-shirt in the kitchen, no makeup and a million other things that I could look at my whole life. Love like that makes a man have second thoughts. I guess some things last forever after all.
And as the final evening's entertainment drew to an end, I decided to check out the late night buffet. To be fair, there was still a decent amount of choice even at this late hour. It was a good idea to get a little bit of food now, as tomorrow morning was going to be disembarkation. Which meant that it was going to be an early start, as I had to be out of the cabin by 8 AM. If you've enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, and if you haven't done so already, please consider subscribing.